Find yourself in a comfortable seat, either on the floor or in a chair. You do not have to be on the floor if that's not comfortable for you. If you do want to be on the floor and you need some props, go ahead and grab them, your blocks, blankets, bolsters, anything that you have available, so that you're comfortable for a few minutes on the floor or in a chair. So we'll start in a seated position, and that can either be, again, on any surface that feels comfortable for you. Found yourself in a comfortable seated position. Let's begin our practice today. As we arrive, we're going to let go of any expectations that we have about the practice and just be right here, right now, with whatever imperfections you bring to your mat this morning. Imperfections are what makes us interesting, so let's embrace them. As you settle and wiggle, maybe move side to side or do a little circle, find that comfortable position, one that doesn't cause you to grip or to hold. See if you can adjust yourself, maybe give yourself a little extra support so that you can be seated comfortably. And then start to bring your focus inward toward your breath. And you may be aware of sounds around you, and that's okay. You just notice them and then let them go. If any particular body part starts feeling uncomfortable, again, see if you can adjust, add a prop, move just slightly so that that body part stops grabbing your attention. Or maybe give it a little attention. Maybe your knee needs just a little rub, like I feel you, knee. Everything's okay. Maybe that's all it needs, is just that little assurance. Let your belly become a little softer in case you're holding. Let the space between your hips release, whatever that means for you. And then let's start our class by coming together with our hands in front of the heart and chanting Om together one time. We'll start with the breath in together. Exhale, let it out. Inhale. With your eyes closed, give yourself a smile. And then bow your head, release your hands, and look up with that smile on your face. And I can see all your beautiful smiling faces. You're bringing all kinds of positive energy into your practice this morning. Let's start in hands and knees position. Cushioning your wrists, your knees, doubling up your mat, anything that you need to support yourself so that while we do our blissful back routine, you're feeling like you're blissful. So don't mess with my bliss. I'm going to push my blanket off to the side for a moment because I have 2 mats down already. And I always want to take a little bit of time and not just assume that I'm in good position just because I do this regularly. I like to take a little time and check the position of my hands, see if my index fingers are pointing straight ahead, check that my knees, maybe one is sort of moved toward the middle, see if I can make them nice and square. And then, whatever position I tend to go into, I like to change it a little bit. So just bring my hands a little bit further apart. And then observe my nice straight spine, and you're going to observe your straight spine, and you're just energetically checking in with it. And then we're going to soften the space between the shoulder blades a little bit. That means the shoulder blades might glide toward one another slightly. And then inhale, look forward, let the back arch comfortably, and then exhale and round. And again, we're going in a small range, comfortable, because we are having our very blissful back today. That means we're not going to push into uncomfortable ranges. We're going to be soft and gentle. Push down through the finger pads to take pressure off the wrists if the wrist crease is starting to talk to you. Now, for those of you who do know you have a bit of osteoporosis, you're perfectly safe going here with your cow arch, right? So this position is very safe for osteoporosis. When you come up into more of like the scared cat, you just kind of back off from the end range, maybe like 25%, 22. So you don't want to push it to the end range. You want to back off just a little bit and stay in that comfortable range, because this is spinal flexion here. And although you're not weighted like you are in standing, you don't want to force it. So it's gently going back and forth. And then you're going to come to a flat back position. So neutral spine, let the hips roll to the side. And again, we're, imagining that maybe we've been out in the garden for 6 hours and wow, that back needs some stretching. So after a lot of pulling or shoveling or raking, you may find that that range is small and that you are not comfortable going through a wide range. So you just work in the range that's comfortable, and then reverse the other side. And often after a lot of gardening, one side may be a little more sore than the other because we all have a dominant side, and that dominant side might have been doing more than its fair share. Come back to center, and then we're going to work into either child's pose or puppy pose. So puppy pose, the hips and knees stay high. We reach the arms out as far as is comfortable. And if the shoulders don't like that, we bend the shoulders and the hands can come under the forehead. And then the next modification is child's pose when the hips go all the way back, shoulders go forward. So for those of you with osteoporosis, I like a little bit more arch in your back. Child's pose you can do, but maybe bring your fists up so your back is more flat and you're not completely rounded. So again, we're trying to keep that roundness out of the spine. And back to hands and knees position. Good. So it's a little rest for your wrists. Let's bring the right arm straight forward. Thumb leads the way. I don't know if you can see my thumb. So this is protecting the rotator cuff. And let the right arm down. Left arm reaches up. Breathe and release. Right arm reaches up. And release. And then the left arm one more time. Now, these might seem like basic, maybe even a little boring, but you know what? This is your foundation. So don't skip the foundation or the structure will fall. And when the structure falls, that looks like back pain. It looks like neck pain. It looks like hip pain. Let's add the legs. So bring right leg back. Now I like to stretch out my leg a little when my back is feeling cranky. So after lots of back work, the muscles in the back of the leg might be particularly irritable. So do this little calf stretched with the toes down, and then slowly add the leg. Option to add the opposite arm. And then as you're coming back to center, you want everything to be slow and controlled, and your spine really shouldn't move. So if you had to do a big correction to get back to this position, then bring both your arm and your leg down. Maybe you're going a little further and your foundation was starting to crumble a little bit. Left leg back, curl the toes under, stretch the back of the left calf first. I did a lot of sitting yesterday. Not really sure that I'm cut out for telehealth. There is a lot of sitting in front of your computer. I'm going to need a standing desk. And then start to lift the left foot up. Good. Now, the hips stay square. Start to add your opposite arm if you can keep this controlled. If you can't keep it controlled, then bring the hand down or lower the foot a little bit. Because as you release, everything should come right back into place without that big correction. Okay, so if the hip was lifted or your weight really shifted, see if you can do this next one without that. So that means the tummy's engaged, the back is strong. Right leg back, lift up through the heel. Now, if this is as far as you can go without that shift, then you're going to stop right here. Maybe you start to just walk your left hand forward, and the hand might stay down and lift up and release. Left leg back. Right heel this is my left. Lift up, and then right hand forward, lift up, and release. Lovely. Okay, next we're going to make our way onto the belly for a little bit more strengthening of the back. So here, what I want you to do is bring your hands under your chin, legs out straight behind you, and if this is a stretch, then you might want to just consider hanging out here. After a day of gardening, you may need a little blanket under your hips until those muscles stop firing. So they may be saying danger, danger, and seizing up. So what you would do is add a little blanket here, and once they start to release and relax, then you remove the blanket until you can go flat. And then we're going to start working on the strength in the back. This is going to look like the opposite of an abdominal curl, and we lift on the exhale. So inhale, exhale, lift the upper body. Now you could maybe just barely getting up here. Maybe you can lift up a little higher and then lower down. So just sort of assess how those back muscles are doing. Inhale, exhale, lift. Keep breathing while you're lifting, and lower down. If you're not lifting very high, that's okay. Just try not to just lift your head. Really try to use those back muscles. One more time. Inhale, exhale, lift. Good. Some of you may be able to lift the legs a little bit here. If you can't, don't worry. This is a little bit of back extension. Most important thing is that you're breathing, and then lower down. One more time. Inhale, exhale, lift the upper body. Maybe add the legs. Keep breathing. Feel free to lower down and then come back up if holding doesn't really work for you yet. That just means you've got a little ways to go. And lower down. Nice. All right, just let your body weight shift side to side. If you would like to bend your knees and windshield wiper, you can. That will lubricate those hip joints. Lovely. Okay, so let the legs go out straight and start to come back up onto hands and knees. Oops. And next, we're going to make our way into standing. Come up into standing any way that's comfortable for you. You can use your chair, use your end table, couch. Just get up nice and slow. Again, we're going to use this routine after we've overdone something and we're assuming that maybe it's a little cranky, even if it's not today. If it's not today, fantastic. You're just getting this nice stretch and nice strengthening. Look down at your feet. They're parallel. And lift and spread your toes. Your legs are straight, but they're not locked. So feel those muscles engage around your ankle, around your calves, around your thighs. The glutes are active, so a little bit of activation here. So if you're touching them, they're not just jiggly. Firm them up a little bit. Same with the belly. Same with the muscles around your shoulders, and palms forward. So you have active engagement. Inhale, bring the arms up. Inhale, exhale, release. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Flooding your body with oxygen and all this good nutrition that you ate for breakfast is going to get oxygenated and get to all the sore places. And release down. Interlace your hands behind you now. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and a little bit down so that you lift up through your heart. You can lift your chin a little bit here, but if you're lifting your chin, make sure your head isn't forward like a chicken. So bring your head back and then lift up. So it's almost like you give yourself a little double chin and then lift. And release. Bring your arms up overhead. Grasp a wrist. Lengthen that side of your body as you lean away. Come back to center. Release that wrist. Grab the other one. Side bend to the other side. Opening up the rib cage. Feeling that nice length from the top of the pelvis up to the start of the rib cage. And release down. We'll do a little bit of a standing rotation. Walk your feet a little bit further apart and your knees again are soft. Bring your hands to your hips so that way you're going to just monitor where your hips are right now. Bring your arms out wide. Hopefully you have enough space and my palms are down. And I just want you to imagine that you're turning from your belly button and look to the side, not too far, come back to center, and then we're going to turn and look to the other side. So we're really rotating the rib cage on top of the pelvis, so the pelvis stays pretty much square. And we're just going to add this little rotation, and back to center, and again, a little bit of rotation, working in a range that feels comfortable and easy. And back to center. Good. We'll make our way into Warrior Two pose, a fantastic pose for a sore day. I feel like Warrior Two you can do no matter, if you can be upright, you can do some variation of Warrior Two. I really like Warrior Two because it really engages these strong leg muscles, which help support the pelvis. So the front leg, whichever leg you're having, your front leg is bent, your front knee is pointed over the center of your front foot, and your weight is pushing through the back edge of your back leg. So imagine the top of your hip going down to the outer ankle. Root that outer ankle down. Don't let it roll, just anchor it down. And then push through the big toe ball mound. The arch lifts just a little bit. And then open up the arms wherever they're comfortable. Gaze out over the front arm. And perhaps you sink down just a little bit more. And start to straighten the front leg and release the hands down. And right back to Warrior Two, arms out, front leg bent. Now we're going to add a little reverse warrior. Back hand comes to the back thigh. And the reason we do that is we want that back thigh to push into that hand and the front arm to open up. Now, you can be straight up and down here, vertical, or you can add a little bit of a back bend. Really depends on how you're feeling today. Trying not to override the cues that your body's giving you. And then come back to center. Straighten the front leg, turn the feet together. And again, you can either step to the front and step the other leg back, or you can pivot. It really depends on how you are watching today. And so we want the opposite leg to now bend. The back foot, which was bent a minute ago, is now straight. Our opposite knee going over the center of our front foot. Now, again, let's activate the back leg from the hip down to the outer ankle. Push down through the big toe ball mound. Lift the arch a little bit. And extend the arms front to back. The front toes are there and supportive, but not overly engaged. So they're just softly helping us find our balance. Straighten the front leg, release the hands down. And once again, warrior two. Back hand to the back thigh, keep that weight pushing back. Turn the front arm up. Again, might be just lifting up right here, or you can invite a little back bend. If you're doing a little back bend, we're reaching up and back. We're not just collapsing into this. We're opening up. And then come back through warrior two. Straighten the front leg, release the hands down. Hands come to the hips, and we're adding a little arch back. I'll turn sideways. So we're adding a little arch back here. We're really going to avoid the forward folding today because we're imagining that we did something that really caused our back to kick into gear. We maybe did a lot of sitting, gardening. So we're really focusing on this arching, maintaining that arch, and lengthening the front body. Step the feet together as we make our way into warrior one pose. Hands at the hips, step the right foot back, not as wide as your warrior two was just a minute. I'm going to make this really wide space between my feet this way, so they have this really nice base of support. Bend the front knee, back leg is straight, heel is as far down as is comfortable, and then reach the arms up wherever you're feeling the joy today. Where are you feeling it? Maybe you're feeling it down here. Maybe you're feeling it at the hips. Wherever you're feeling that warrior energy. And then let the hands come down to the hips. Step the back foot forward. You'll see I have this really nice wide stance. I'm going to step the other foot back. The back foot is angled open just a little bit, so I'm bringing the heel in a little bit, getting a nice stretch through my calf, which we stretched out a little bit on the floor already. Front knee bent, and again, reach the arms forward and up as far as you and your body are asking for the stretch this morning. Feel that breath move into the belly. And release the hands down, step to the top of the mat. Let's do a little bit of a balance pose this morning. This is going to be I love to combine eagle and tree. So we're going to do a little bit of eagle legs with tree arms. Now, your eagle legs mean that one leg is crossed over and the toes can be either touching or they can be at that outside of your other leg. And if they're there, you can even put those toes down whenever you need to, okay? Let's start by just finding a nice grounded structure, our foundation, our base, and then bring the hands together in front of the heart. Feel the left leg start to root down, and I think I said the left leg, right? The left leg's rooting down, right leg is going to come across, touch the toes. If your balance needs that little extra, just to keep you steady, or bring the outside of your ankle to the outside of the other ankle. And then lift the arms. And open up your branches like you're a lilac with the little buds coming out. Feeling the happiness Maybe think about that smell of lilacs that's not all that far away. Love that smell. And then bring it all back to center. And release the right leg down. Pause for a moment. Feel the difference in the legs. Feel that lilac fragrance fill your body. Root down through the right leg. Start to lift the left. Cross it over. Toes can stay engaged right here. So you might have your toes down or outside of ankle to outside of calf. Find your steady balance. So we look ahead at something, our focal point, which is called the drishti, and then arms can come up. Pause at any place along here where you feel challenged and your pose is complete. Open up your branches when and if you're ready. Smile up at the sun. Gather up your vitamin D. Bring it into your heart center. Release your foot and then just do a little shift from side to side. And as you do, if you have room, widen your stance. So you're just kind of like bringing yourself into this wider angle, and then start shifting your weight side to side, hands at your hips, inner thigh stretch from one side to the other, and then maybe add the arms out, and then maybe start to follow with your head, only if this doesn't make you dizzy, or maybe slow it down considerably if you've got a little bit of vertigo and you don't want to activate it. And then come back to center, straight legs, feet parallel, arms out to the side, 5-pointed star pose. Really feel your feet root down here. Bend at the elbows, palms face forward right now. Nice. And then we're just going to add a little pulse here to the arms. And then I want you to just pulse them forward until they're almost touching, and then pulse them out. Try to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders rather than down here. Pulse them forward and pulse them out. Good. One more time. Pulse them forward and pulse them out. Straighten the arms, let them down, step together, and find your way onto your back, onto your mat. Take your time coming down, and once you come down, maybe support yourself. If you find yourself in a position like this, let yourself have that support all the way down. And then once you arrive down on your mat, take a moment to adjust everything so you can feel comfortable. Bend the elbows, tuck the elbows close to the rib cage as we get ready for bridge pose. First, inhale, exhale, hips come up. Our blissful back. Now, if you have been doing a lot of gardening, your bridge may not be very high, and that's okay. You just go up as far as is comfortable and then lower down when you're ready. So I know I really overdid it this weekend, and on Sunday night I tried to do a bridge pose, and I got up about this far. It wasn't very far before I was kind of like, that doesn't feel so good. But I did like 5 or 10 of them, and then I was eventually able to go up higher because I really want to get those big muscles working. So you don't give up. You just have to oxygenate and activate. when we're in pain, our body's telling us that it's protecting us from something. We sometimes need to assure it that this is not dangerous. Inhale, exhale, lift. Maybe lift the toes and push through the heels a little bit more if you're feeling pretty good today to really activate those hamstrings. And then lower down. Release the hands, cross one foot over the other thigh. Let that knee open up nice and wide. And release that one down. Cross the other foot. Push your hand into that thigh, the opposite side, open up. And release. Now, with both knees bent, interlace your hands behind the right leg and start to lengthen up towards the sky. Now, with the other leg bent, when you do this, you should really feel your low back pushing into your mat, okay? So feel that nice flat back. And then what I want you to do is start to move the left leg out along your mat and become aware of the low back. If, as you bring your left leg out, you start to feel that arch lift, you're going to bring that knee in until you can keep that back flat on your mat. Now, a couple of you are more flexible in your hamstrings, and you're going to be able to completely straighten out that bottom leg and get this nice stretch through the top leg without arching the back. But what we're trying to do is just change it up a little bit. Point and flex the toes. And again, on a sore back day, your knee might be completely bent. Circle the ankle, circle the ankle. Let the whole leg come out, maybe an inch or two. Feel a little change in where the hamstring stretch happens. And bring it back to center. Bend that knee. Give yourself a little hug. Ooh, I'm tight. Did you guys see all the wood I burned this weekend? I had some frustrations to get out. I probably squatted 5,000 times trying to pick up every twig in the yard. Release the right. Both knees bent. Bring the left knee in. Start to stretch it up. Oh, did I mention those like 5,000 squats I did? That's where my tightness is. And then as your back remains flat on the mat, walk the right leg out. And stop at any point you start to feel that arch. And then as you gain control, as your belly becomes engaged, you can straighten that leg out. Ooh, this side's way tighter for me today. Point and flex the toes. Pop and crack your ankle. I don't know if you could hear my ankle, it just went crack, crack, crack. Pops and cracks are fine as long as there's no immediate pain associated with it. Nice. Okay, start to bend that knee in. Oh. Excuse my sighs and moans here. And then bring both feet together. Give the knees a little support, walk the feet wide. And bring the arms straight up towards the ceiling. And then maybe get a nice stretch up overhead wherever you can feel a nice shoulder stretch. The hands can open wide, almost like you're going to do a snow angel. So wherever you're feeling a little tight, feel that nice stretch. Take a couple breaths and then walk the toes toward one another and bring the arms down alongside your body. Pull it all in tight. Like your little acorn. I picked up about 1 million of them this weekend. And then we're going to slowly make our way into a lovely Shavasana, lovely resting pose. Grab any blanket, prop. So if you had a sore back doing this routine, you may want to do something like add a bolster under the knees. Now when I add a bolster, if you happen to have a bolster, I like the bolster sort of in this position where my feet can still be on the ground and I really don't have to do any effort. But when I just put it, I've just noticed when I put it flat, sometimes that feels a little awkward. So I like this little angle. So I'm going to do this little angle. My feet are a little closer, my knees are a little wider. Play around with what feels good for you. There should be no effort. You shouldn't have to be using your muscles. Find your comfortable position to take a few minutes of rest. Allow your body to release and to relax. You're allowing your nervous system to have a calming time in the day. Changing up the system. Finding calm, finding peace, taking a break. While you're here on your mat, you may become aware of noises around you, and we acknowledge them and then let them go. Our focus wanders, and we bring it back to our breath. Every breath is an invitation to begin again and again. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe lift your eyebrows and move your face a little bit. Move your legs. If you have a prop, maybe start to release your prop. As you bend your legs. And slowly wake your body back up as you roll to your side, if you're not already on your side, and gently help yourself with your arms back to a seated position. Nice and slowly. Your movement here is also part of your practice. And let's all meet in a seated position with our eyes closed. Take a minute to get there. And I like to take a moment of gratitude to spend just a moment making sure I thank somebody or something in my life for the day. And then we'll finish our time together by chanting Om together one time. Let's breathe in together. Exhale, release. Inhale. Om. The light in me sees and honors the light in each one of you. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your day.